Looks like we are live. It is a few minutes after 9 o'clock. We were fixing cameras. We got multiple cameras going this evening. So we have an HD recording, we have our live stream recording, we have an RDO recording, we even have the table set up so you guys can see what's going on. I'm just doing last minute things for the PowerPoint, and we're going to actually take off with this show. And I'm going to start with, Miranda, how are you feeling besides being sick and pain? Actually, before the show, we were trying to get this exact table that you can't really see, but you do see. You see the keyboard here. I actually broke one of my picture frames. So I was picking glass up. I got a piece of glass in my finger. And I realized I haven't completely recovered from the car accident, which you'll learn about the car accident later. As you can tell, Miranda is actually in a lot of pain and tired, and will grimace in pain throughout this whole event. I'm not torturing her. But some people might think that.
No, my body's torturing me.
Yeah, it's the whole body.
And if you're watching this show, I mean, we're not. You don't know what's wrong with me. You'll find out that we're sharing our life story tonight. And some people, a lot of people have shown up tonight for the live show because I don't think a lot of people have heard our story. And those who have say, we need to write a book. And it is a story that could even be made into a movie. One of the movies that I always think of when comparing Jeremy and I's story is the movie The Notebook, which a lot of men hate, and Jeremy doesn't like it either. But he doesn't like it because it makes him think of us, in a sense. But I am really happy that everyone is here tonight watching, and we got a surprise right before we did the show. A friend of ours showed up with her daughter. Her daughter is only 15 years old, and kind of considers Jeremy what she calls a man mother.
I'm her man mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of like
figure this out.
But Jeremy and I are people that she looks up to. This 15-year-old girl, and she's a cheerleader. And I said, I think that's the first time I've ever had a cheerleader willingly want to hang out with me, because I wasn't popular in high school. But this young teenage girl had a desire to bring us an anniversary cake and a card and gifts. And that's what we did an hour before the show. And that's kind of a little why we were a little late, just a few minutes late starting. But she's supposed to be home right now watching. So if you're watching, hi.
Yeah, so I was going to bring the cake in here, but it'd be kind of weird for me to turn the cake so you can see it. So we will post pictures. We will post pictures of the cake here later. Here's what I want everyone to do.
Then she doesn't really know our story, does she?
Yeah, she doesn't even know all of our story.
So
here's what I need everybody to do. Our wedding vows, which I am going to actually, Miranda's already written them. They're right here on a piece of paper. I, on the other hand, decided to talk to myself for over a week planning this. I don't have it on paper. I'm just going to say what's at the heart.
Okay, he's doing it by just the heart because he didn't have time to write it down.
No, I had all week to plan this because I have written them down before. But the problem is I keep crumbling up and throwing it away. Like Miranda thought I was writing my assignment.
I feel like you're lying right now.
I wish I was lying, but I've actually written this stuff down before. I thought about doing this before now, but with everything going on, I thought it was something that needed to be done. With Miranda's illnesses, with stuff going on in our lives, this is the time, this is the place where we needed to,
No, well, and we were planning on renewing our vows every 10 years. And so we still had 5 years to go, but Jeremy decided last night to get on one knee. When I was actually in bed, I was very sick. And he got down on one knee. I want to start crying. And he got down on one knee and he says, I want to ask you a question. And he was crying. And I thought something traumatic had happened. Of course, I thought somebody had died. Somebody had written us, something horrible had happened. And I said, oh my Lord, what's wrong? What's happened, honey? And he says, I need to ask you a question. And I thought, okay. And he gets down on one knee, and I said, what are you doing? And he says, will you marry me all over again live on our show tomorrow night? And I just started crying because, to be honest, I said he never, when we first got married, and he never really proposed. It was kind of this mutual thing where we just knew we were meant to be together. And you'll find out when we share our story how that went. And also see the ring that Jeremy gave me. It wasn't even the engagement ring. It was, I've received 4 rings from this man in the past 5 years. So the first ring that he ever gave me, you'll see a picture of this ring. And it was a promise ring. Basically making a promise that he was going to marry me. It was kind of like a pre-engagement ring. And I got him one, and he still wears his too.
Yeah. So you're gonna learn about all these things. Now, for those that have been here for the first time, there will be like an advertisement or something show up, but you should still be able to hear us. Just bear with us, and we will have the podcast posted after the show. If you have to miss something, don't worry. It's going to be audio recorded. We're going to stay up all night. We're going to get the videos made. We're going to get done what we need to do because I got to finish the assignment for college as well. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to tell you how we met, where we met. The one thing that we didn't put in the video, but we may take pictures of. It depends on. Well, actually, I can possibly do that. I'm going to look and see if I can get screenshots of the original MySpace messages sent to me and Miranda. If not, we have Coast Guard to Yahoo email conversations.
150 some emails.
Yes.
I kept every one of them.
So we have all this documented because our story is just so strange. And as soon as Miranda tells me, do I start this PowerPoint or you want to talk first? How do you want to do this?
The first thing we wanted to start out with was today, 5 years ago, Jeremy and I were married in a little church here in Chillicothe, Ohio. It was the Salvation Army Church, and my grandfather, which was my dream to have my poppy do the ceremony. My dad gave me away. It wasn't a big wedding. It was a small wedding, and I didn't even have the dress I wanted. But you'll find out why I didn't have my wedding dress, and I settled with a purple evening gown dress that matched our theme for fall, luckily, and also is one of my favorite colors. Why I wore that dress and what happened to the money that was to go to buy my dream wedding dress. Mm-hmm. In 2000, we're going to start out with my story. In 2000, I made a terrible mistake, the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life, and I married a man who inevitably became an alcoholic, a drug addict, and beat and raped me for 6 months and held me against my will. I was not able to leave. He told me if I would leave him, he would kill me. And for 6 months, I lived basically as his prisoner. And I wasn't allowed to see my family, and I honestly wasn't sure if I ever would. And so I began to pray that God would release me from this prison. And in October of 2001, God granted me that, and I was able to go free and get away from him. From that time on, I began to pray. And I prayed, and I said, God, if there is someone out there for me, clearly this man wasn't. If the man I'm supposed to be with is out there, he has to find me. I'm not looking. Here are my rules I have for you, Lord, if I'm going to be with any man. I said, first off, he has to be a Christian. Second, he has to be a musician, because I'm a musician. I play 3 different instruments, and I sing, and I've been playing music since I was 3 years old. And I said, and thirdly, he has to have a heart for missions, because I have a heart for missions, locally, nationally, globally. anything with missions. I love. And I said I want him to have he has to have this kind of heart, he has to have this kind of mind. And I said, and if he can have blue eyes. I said, I really want blue eyes. And I prayed this prayer for practically 7 years, which is a holy number, which is ironic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went on with my life. I got a job. I inevitably worked my way into going to state certified nurses aid training classes, got my certification for the state of Ohio, and was working in the nursing field and living my life, volunteering for the Salvation Army, working with the Salvation Army. I was working 40 hours a week at my job, and then volunteering 25 hours a week at the Salvation Army, working with underprivileged children. And in 2006, while in the midst of all this working with God, God was using me. I was playing music, I was doing puppets, and I was traveling, and I was doing all kinds of stuff all over Ohio. My prayer was answered. November 26th, 2006, God answered that prayer all the way down to the color of his eyes. Now, I'm going to let Jeremy tell you his story, because he was the one who found me. And how did Jeremy get to November 26, 2006 and finding me?
Now, before I start my story, I realized about 5 or 6 people just showed up. Can you recap that in 35 seconds?
35 seconds?
Just to give everybody a review. Just to give a review real quick before I start my story.
My story is in 2000, I was married to an abusive husband who nearly murdered me, and I got away from him, and for 7 years, I prayed a prayer that if I was to get married again, then God would have to have this man find me, and he had to have all these certain characteristics, even down to the color of his eyes. And I never thought that prayer would be answered, but somehow, some way, on the day of November 26, 2006, God had that man find me and answered that prayer. There it is.
Okay, so without further ado, everybody wants to know how did I meet Miranda? Well, the background with me is ever since I could remember, and people that knew me in school, that if I started to fall in love with someone, which I was...
I forgot something.
You forgot something.
I forgot something. The other thing I forgot was I said he had to be a musician, and there's a Christian musician named Jeremy Camp, JC. And I love Jeremy Camp.
This all the time, basically.
And I said it wouldn't hurt if he could play guitar and sing like Jeremy Camp either.
Which some of you know I can, and some of you don't, but that's a whole different story. I've been a musician since I was about 4 years old.
So put the JC and the JC together, and yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, or even our friends from the Jesse Woodrow shows here. Chrissy and her husband's here. Carly from school's here. Deb Sue and several others. There's about 25, and I know there's another 100 or so of you. But anyway, those of you that knew me from school, especially Carly, you remember the girl that I was in love with and thought I was going to marry, and that didn't happen. I've always wanted to find somebody to marry, and it just didn't happen until I got out. I finally was in Houston, and I got engaged to a young woman, and we were engaged, to get married, and we were engaged for quite a while, and it did not work. I pursued other women while I was in California, and it did not work. And at this point, social media just started. I remember the days when MySpace did not have all these bands and everything, and when the website went down, you could still go to the front page and play Tetris and Pac-Man while they fixed it.
I never knew that.
This is back in the day when it wasn't so cluttered, and then the viruses and everything happened. I remember when Facebook started, and you needed a military or .edu website, you as a regular human being, you could not, I say again, you could not, yes, Beth, I will stop typing and listen to my wife. We love you. That's the man mother's daughter's mother. But that probably just confused her.
That confused me. Let's go on.
But anyway, I'll be doing a lot of typing while she's talking because
because I'm not on the other side of the camera running the chat and paying attention.
So I'm monitoring the chats on the multiple sites. We're monitoring the different pages and stuff to make certain everything goes smoothly tonight.
Because we don't have a team.
Yeah, it's just me and her. There's no one at the other camera. If it goes down, we have to get up and go deal with it.
Anyway.
But anyway, I was on MySpace and I had a code.
And where were you at this time?
This was Point Reyes Station, California. I had my Yahoo Messenger up. I had MySpace up. I had my TV on. I had my other TV on playing Xbox, and that's what I did all at once. I'm one of those weird, goofy, IT technical guru kind of guys. But anyway, I started adding people. There was a add friends button. And back in the day on MySpace, they created this thing where you could see online friends now. And I clicked this button. So anywhere, and I was able to filter this down to the United States. Before, I just picked California, whoever's online, and I start messaging people and start writing them. And I will admit, I started adding people that were online at, 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it was. I can't remember the time. But I found this picture. And we still have this picture. Actually, Miranda can go get it because it's in the hallway on a small little square. Isn't that the same one?
Yeah.
But anyway, if she wants to get it, she can. If not,
I'm not sure.
But anyway, it said Christ for Life. And it was white square with black print. Christ,
and it had a
the number 4, life.
And
I added it. Yeah. Interesting with this profile, normally I go through pictures looking at women to add. I'm not going to lie. I was single. We still do.
You were in the military.
Single people do this. They normally do it on Match.com or whatever it's called today. Whatever the sites are called. But anyway, you look to see what you are interested in. You read the comments and their blogs and see if it's something that matches. Well, there were absolutely no pictures on this account.
Of me.
Of her. There was a picture of other things.
But I didn't have a picture of myself.
And we started talking on MySpace. Now, I know most people that are over the age of 45 are laughing their heads off. You met your what on what? Yes, I met her on MySpace.
All the way in California.
In fact, we should have our show sponsored by MySpace just for this. Because we're a successful story. Because that's one of the things MySpace was originally created for, so you could meet somebody. Now it's also for bands. We have a band page with over 44,000 people on it. Which I don't know many people know that either. But
I had my own music.
Yeah. So what happened? She's talking about the music page. That's the next thing. After she adds me and we start talking on MySpace.
And first off, I normally don't talk to people I don't know. But for some reason, I heard this still small voice say, talk to this Jeremy. And I thought, okay.
Well, anyway,
so I did.
She's going to keep interrupting me throughout all this because either she's wanting to keep me on track or she just has something she wants to talk about. I'm fine with that. The band. She adds me on her band page. Do you want to share about what you play real quick?
I play piano, drums, and a little bit of violin. And I had some original music I had written and recorded out as a demo tracks, and I loaded them, and I had a friend say, you need to make a music page. You just, you have such a great talent. You need to get that, out there and just, let people know what you're capable of doing. So I did, and when Jeremy and I started talking, we found out he was a musician, I was a musician. I said, hey, you might like my, check out my music. Tell me what you think, because I don't get a lot of feedback. And Jeremy kind of that was the beginning where he was like, I feel like I want to get to know her better.
Now, those that remember me from school know that I was highly involved with ministry at school and my church and was pursuing a woman that was involved in music. This woman that I won't mention her name because I don't want, signed a book with my grandmother, The 10 Challenges of a World Changer by Ron Luce, Team Mania Ministries. And eventually it talked about courting and dating and how you're supposed to do things. And there was a section in the book that talked about, what do you want your future spouse to be? You may be in high school or junior high. I was in high school at that point, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior stuff, and started reading this book over and over and over. And I laid out the plan and said, God, here's what I want. What do you want? How can we work this out together? So I'm on your plan, God, and I'm on your plan, and I'm on my own plan, and it all is God's plan. I hope that didn't make you lose track here. So we start talking on this music page. We start talking on the regular page.
And at this point,
and she gives me her phone number. But
at this point, you still didn't know what I looked like.
No, I didn't know what she looked like.
We're having a conversation. We don't know what each other really look like. And he asked why, to see a picture of me. And I thought, oh boy, because I was really self-conscious. But he sent me a picture of himself first. And what does he send me? His official military picture with him in his uniform with his medals and his ribbons on. And I thought, oh my Lord, how is a man this good looking wanting to talk to me? And I thought, oh no, when he sees me, he'll never want to talk to me again. And so I was like, okay, well, I have an idea. I tortured this poor man for a week. What I did was I sent him a picture of me from when I was a baby to when I was a little girl to when I was a teenager until the present. And I did this to him for a week. And after a week of torturing him, and I thought, well, if he's interested in me and if he's interested in talking to me, whatever, then he'll put up with this. I mean, you got to realize I was nearly murdered by the last person that wanted to be with me. So I didn't want to, hang out with anybody really. Didn't really trust anybody but one guy friend that I did ministry with. And so, but Jeremy, what did you think when I did that? I mean, share.
Well, at the same point, and I have to rewind and talk about the phone call. She didn't think I was going to call. She gave me the phone, and the phone number, that is, and I called her like the same day she gave it to me. She was at the Salvation Army, and I was like, hello, is this Miranda? She's like, who is this? I was like, hey, it's Jeremy in California. She's like, you're kidding. That's not possible. I was like, why not? He's like, oh, how are you? Well, she tried to play cool, and she finally admitted to me this week that she ran into the building and went and told all of her friends what?
I don't remember now.
What did you,
I was like screaming.
You were like screaming. You told your friends and said, I can't believe he called me.
I said, oh my God,
he has such a cute, what?
I said, he has such a cute voice. I said, he sounds like a little boy. He's so cute. I mean, I'm sure most men don't want to hear that, but he did. He sounded like a cute little boy, and I thought it was adorable.
I believe your mom is in the chat, or I don't know which mom is it, Mom Beth or Mom Beck. I don't know which one, but there's a mom chat. There's a lot of people in Virginia, Carly. We got like 20 people we can shout out to. So anyway, I called her. We started talking on the phone, and then we added on Yahoo Messenger. Well, here's the next line of defense. If torturing me with baby pictures for a week wasn't enough, I didn't even realize who I was talking to on Yahoo, because guess who she conspired with?
My grandmother.
So I was talking like I was talking to Miranda to her grandmother on her chat.
My grandmother was logged in as me, and she's like, hey, I pretended to be you last night to check out this Jeremy guy. She goes, he seems okay. He sounds like a good guy. Jeremy never knew it until after we got married. I never told him. Grandma pretended to be. But you know what? Now that we think about it, me and Grandma act a lot alike, so it's no wonder she was able to pretend to be me. But yeah, this man was put through, because you got to understand, my grandmother never thought she was going to see me again after what my previous husband did. she thought she had lost me forever. That she said she honestly began having dreams that he had killed me and that they were going to find my body. I mean, that's how serious my life was in danger.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand why this guy had to go through and went through. But at the same time, I never thought he was going to stick around. I mean, I really didn't. But you know, I mean, I didn't play easy to
She is in Ohio.
Yeah.
I am in California, talking on the phone, talking on Yahoo, and then it just kept growing and growing and growing. So here's what happened. Christmas.
2006.
2006. We started talking right before Thanksgiving.
No, right after.
Right after Thanksgiving, right before. Anyway, Christmas comes around. 2006. I'm in California. She is in Ohio. I convinced her to get a webcam. Now you're probably thinking dirty. No, here's what happened. I got to spend Christmas with both sides of her family on webcam because the family came to her grandma's house and Miranda set up the webcam. I sat at my house in California. I sent a 20-pound box of presents. You want to explain all that?
Oh my gosh. Wait, my family and I sent him a great big care package of stuff. Socks, t-shirts, things that he needed. And he sent us a 20-pound care package, you know, of gifts for my mother, my sister, both my grandparents, everybody, and me. And one of the gifts that he gave me was some songbooks, sheet music that he had, and I was just head over heels because I took that sheet music and I started playing new songs and stuff. But but that's how we spent Christmas 2006. And Jeremy cried. It was really the first Christmas he had since a family Christmas, even though it was a virtual one that he had since his mother and grandmother had died.
Because you got to realize, those of you that know my story know that when my grandmother died in 98, on this date, yes, September 22nd, Carly probably knows about it. My grandmother died, and this was the beginning of my horrific life story that led to homelessness. So I really didn't have I didn't really have a Christmas that was normal.
No.
I had the dysfunctional family Christmas the following year, the homelessness Christmas, the missionary Christmas.
Why don't you bring up the PowerPoint and show the two pictures of us, since we're at that point now?
Yeah, I'm going to start going through the pictures. You haven't told me about pulling up pictures yet. So.
Yeah, well, we need to show the pictures because these are the two pictures we posted to each other when we finally got to see what each other looked like. Yeah. This was the picture Jeremy sent to me, what he looked like, and then this is the picture I had a friend take at a I do believe it was a Jeremy Camp concert. It was a Jeremy Camp concert. Yeah, it was.
And I think the jacket's kind of similar. I don't think it's the same one, but it's...
No, it's a different jacket. I outgrew that because of the steroids I'm on. But yeah, that's yeah. And then so we started this 3,000-mile long distance relationship with each other. And from November 26th until February 14th, we just started nurturing this relationship. And the more I found out about Jeremy, the more I kept thinking about that prayer I had prayed. And when I even saw the color of his eyes, I was like, this can't be coincidence. This just can't be. This has to be God. This has to be the prayer I prayed that being answered. And so, so only after 3 months of talking, we started really falling in love with each other. We were on the phone every few minutes talking to each other, and we would pray with each other on the phone, pray for each other and write each other all the time and support each other. I mean, communication. That's what it is. And Jeremy said, I think we need to meet. Meet? How are we going to meet? who has the money to fly? You know, I don't have the money to fly to California, and my family's not going to let me. I didn't even know if he did, but somehow it worked out. Jeremy got 2 weeks of leave from the military, and we had, you know, I worked, he worked, we had the money to buy the plane ticket. And he left California. It was supposed to be about a 6-hour flight on February 13th.
Oh, yeah, you want to share that? Your mother has a part of the story to share. Do you remember this conversation? I actually talked to Miranda's mother.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, my mom and I were shopping one night, and he called my cell phone, and I said, you want to talk to my mom? And he did. He talked to my mom. You actually called my mom at her house, I think, once too. Like he would actually call my family, you know, and talk to them at their houses and stuff. And so anyway, he was supposed to fly from California to Ohio, about a 6-hour flight on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. Well, in 2007 of that year...
Mom's telling on you.
Oh, she could tell me.
Mom says, doesn't he sound cute, Mom?
She could tell on me. So anyway, when Jeremy left, got on the plane to fly to Ohio, what happened?
Aha! This is where I need to share. And I wish I had a picture for this in the slide. I have some pictures. Okay, so what happened in the Mid-East, I'm going to call it Mid-East, Midwest.
It's
actually.
Midwest.
It felt like the Mid-East. But anyway, well, not so hot.
Okay.
Actually, freezing cold. I grew up in East Texas. You can ask Carly T in the chat, how cold has Texas been? Maybe 0 degrees. I saw 4 flakes of snow, and I was over the age of 24 before that. What was happening in Ohio? Oh, it's -5-degree wind chill. It's the worst snowstorm / blizzard in the century. So, here's what happens. And I have to get some water real quick. Here's what happens in this situation. I booked my flight from Oakland, California. I had my friend actually drive me from Point Reyes past San Francisco to Oakland about 4 o'clock in the morning. That means I got up at 3:30 in the morning after going to bed at 12:30 talking to her.
Yeah.
She didn't know what time I had to get up to leave.
I didn't.
And I ended up putting my military boots on, ended up wearing some thick clothes, and I had a hoodie that Miranda gave me that I actually slept above my head that had a perfume on it. I know, weird, right? So anyway, I get on the plane and we leave Oakland. I've been on planes before. I'm not worried about planes and that. I was supposed to get to Chicago. Well, I had a layover coming back in Los Angeles. Oh, not Los Angeles. Las Vegas, which is cool. But this time we didn't go through Las Vegas. We went straight. Well, the more we got to the Midwest, the colder it got. And for anyone who realizes, when a plane's flying in the snow, it builds ice. And we were told, you cannot make it to Chicago. In fact, we made it to Kansas City, Missouri. Flights all over that were supposed to get to Chicago and other places had to land at this airport. And it wasn't a very, very big airport. People's luggage got lost. We were there for like 4 or 5 hours trying to figure stuff out, what to do, where to go. And the weirdest thing happened. We started taking off every 30 minutes to 15 minutes to an hour. I loaded on a plane from Kansas City, Missouri to Chicago 9 times in a row. In fact, we don't know which flight had my luggage in Chicago.
But your luggage made
Actually, I got that story mixed up. We left about 4 or 5 hours later from Kansas City to Chicago. Well, Chicago was going to try and fly to Columbus. That's where the problem was. I got the story mixed up. I loaded the plane 9 times from Chicago to Columbus. And you couldn't leave Chicago. Some people's luggage went to their next destination. Other people were able to get a refund and go stay at a hotel. Well, along the trip, I actually met this older gentleman and his granddaughter, who was like 8, 9 years of age. She was terrified. He needed some help. So I bundled with them, and we were on the flight together on the same row, and we walked around and did all sorts of communication, talking and whatever. And by the end of the evening, the last flight, 9:45 p.m., which is why I'm doing the vows tonight around 9:45, maybe a little bit later. They finally canceled the flight, so we can't leave Chicago. You have to spend the night. Next flight's in the morning. So we got our bags and got our stuff and walked all the way over. And I slept in front of Southwest Airlines check-in to leave Chicago. Woke up in the morning on Valentine's Day. Now remember, I was supposed to show up the day before Valentine's. And then I boarded the plane and finally made it from Chicago en route to Columbus. Now it's Miranda and Grandma Fannin.
And my cousin Jerry.
And your cousin Jerry. Take over.
Well, that night, Jeremy is using other people's cell phones. He's using all his change to call me on payphones. And he's like, people are rooting for us. We have to meet. They're all saying this must be meant to be if you're having such a hard time meeting each other. And I said, yeah, there must be something that's weird. I've never had this much trouble trying to meet somebody. Well, anyway, I didn't sleep all night. My poor grandmother never slept all night. We're in like 2 feet of snow, and I don't even know how we're going to get to the airport when he makes it, because there was ice and snow and everything. And, roads were shut down all over the place. Well, anyway, the next morning, he calls me, and he says, we are leaving. They've cleared, the snow has stopped enough. They're clearing the runways. They're de-icing the planes, and I'm going to Ohio. I'm in Chicago, going to Ohio right now, getting on the plane. And I said, okay, we will meet you at the airport. So normally it only takes about an hour for us to get to the airport up at Columbus, okay? It took us 2 hours to get to the airport because we had to literally drive like 35 miles an hour the entire way. We were driving up to Columbus. Cars were literally spinning out on the road in front of us. Cars were off in ditches. Cars were flipped over here. Emergency vehicles everywhere. The roads were just covered with ice and snow everywhere. You couldn't even see where you were driving. I don't know where Jeremy's going.
Internet connection. Keep talking.
So we get to the airport, and I don't know if I want to keep talking because if nobody... Oh, there we go. We're back. So we get to the airport, and I get out of the car, and I am so nervous. I am just literally, oh my gosh. What if I meet this man and it just falls apart? What if he comes here for 2 weeks and, nothing? What's going to happen? So I get out of the car. Now, my grandma sees him before I do, and he was kind of hiding behind this pillar. And I walk into where you pick people up, and I walk in, and I see him, and he looks so tired. And he's standing there in my brown Stephen Curtis Chapman's hoodie sweatshirt, and I just walk up to him, and I kiss him, and I'm not lying to you, but when I kissed him, and we kissed for the first time, and held each other for the first time, I knew that I was going to marry this man. I knew it. That was it. I had found him. He had found me. That prayer had been answered. And so, So we get in the car, and we head back home slowly. But first we had to stop and get something to eat because Jeremy was absolutely starving. He hadn't had anything to eat in like over 12 hours. And so we stop at McDonald's and get something to eat. And it's so pitiful, but I remember what I ordered. I still remember what I ordered that day 5 years ago. And I probably remember it for the rest of my life. But, and after that we drove home slowly, and we made it home, and we spent 2 weeks with each other. And, this is actually, I don't know if I can split the screen. This is one of the very first pictures that was taken after me and Jeremy met. This was back at my house, and this is one of the very first pictures we had taken together. And there's another one here. This was at my grandma's house. And we just had a great time. The sad thing was, for some reason, we can never avoid tragedy. And while he was visiting me, I got bit by a dog on my hand. And I literally couldn't use my hand. It was my right hand. And a dog bit me. And I had to go to the doctor and everything. And I actually had to call off work. Now, I was still working. I didn't get vacation time like Jeremy did. I had a few days off. But I still had to go and work. And that dog bit me, and I was off work for a week. And everybody at work said, "You got bit by that dog on purpose, did you?" I was like, "No, I didn't. I swear I didn't." And so we, while we were there, we really felt like we were meant to be together. And so Jeremy went and ordered me a promise ring. And a promise ring normally means, when somebody gets a promise ring, meaning they're going to stay pure, they're not going to have sex before marriage. It meant that too, in a sense, but it meant like we were promising to be with each other. We were promising that when the time came, when we were able to, we were going to get engaged and get married. That was basically, it was kind of like a pre-engagement ring. And that is the ring. We went to, I think it was JC Sears. I think it was Sears. I can't quite remember. But he wanted to get he just said, pick a ring. And I don't even remember how much it cost. I don't think he let me know. He said, you pick what you want and I will get it for you. And so that's what he did. And we went to Praise's Christian bookstore, and they had promise rings that said True Love Waits on it. And I got him one. And it's a sterling silver one. And he still wears it to this day. I would wear mine, but because of the steroids and all the medication I'm on, it's swelled my fingers up so much that I can't even wear any of my rings anymore. I'm going to have to go get them resized or just not wear them, sadly. But the question is, how do you maintain a relationship when you're so far apart? And it was a very typical military relationship. I mean, most relationships that are with people in the military, you are separated from them. They could be all the way across the world, on the other side of the world for a whole year, and you never see them. So I knew what I was getting into, and Jeremy knew what he was getting into, but luckily it was only 3,000 miles. And you know what? We said, if God is in this, if God wills this, we will be together. And are we back?
No.
Are we having issues?
Okay.
We're having issues. But luckily we have all the pre-record stuff. So anyway, while Jeremy was here, we went to Praise's bookstore. We got his ring. Not just that, but we also...
Right, we're going to have to pause.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to figure out...
Okay, so welcome back to our anniversary special here at JMC Live. We are having a little bit of technical difficulty, so that's why we had to take a break. But we are back, and we're trying to figure out why the internet's not working. But luckily, if you were watching this for the archive show, you didn't miss anything. That's why we do the archive shows. What I was talking about before we had to take a break was, how do you make a 3,000 mile long distance relationship work? And I'll tell you, the main thing that made it work for us was prayer, reading our Bible together over the phone or on video chat. We did Bible study together, and communication. And that is exactly what you have to do. We put God first, and that's how we basically survived for 9 months doing our courtship, basically. We didn't have memories like a normal couple would make. We didn't have the opportunity to go out on a date every week or, go places together. If we went places together, it was on our phone. Like I would go somewhere and I would tell him, hey, I'm over here. I'm having, I wish you were here, Or he would go somewhere and he'd say, I wish you were here. It is lonely. It is very lonely, and especially with Jeremy. He was by himself. He had nobody. I guess I gotta scoot over. But because we put God first, that is truly why it lasted. And not just that, but we bought a devotional book for people who were wanting to get married, and it was called Before You Say I Do. And anybody who is getting engaged, please, if you can look this up, it has a book, and it even has a workbook that you work together on, a workbook. And what it really does is you really learn who the person is that you're marrying. You find out their likes, their dislikes, maybe even their bad habits. Everybody has them. Everybody has those little things that just irk you, Jeremy has them. I have them. But we found all that out through the communication, and because we were separated, we couldn't focus on sex. We couldn't focus on physical, that physical attraction, basically, as much as somebody who, we would have met, locally. So we really had to depend on, we really fell in love because of our personalities, the type of things we liked, the type of, character we were. And that's what we really fell in love with. And it wasn't real physical. I mean, the physical attraction was there, but it wasn't the main thing. I mean, we loved each other because, first and foremost, we loved God. And that's why I loved him, because he loved God first. And the picture Jeremy's showing right now on the live feed, if you're watching live, he's showing the promise ring he bought me when he came out here for the 2 weeks from California. But, and it was the first promise ring because we thought we lost that one, and so he bought a replacement, and then we found that one again. So I actually got two, but I still like that ring best because the emerald heart stone is bigger. So anyway, so after he left, 2 weeks after coming here in February, he goes back to California, and from middle of February until the beginning of June, we never saw each other. We did our Bible study, we talked on the phone again, we planned my trip to come to California. And the picture you're seeing is an airplane flying in the air, but I took that picture while I was flying in my airplane. That is a picture of an airplane flying basically next to my airplane in the air as I was flying to California. I had never flown before, never been in an airport, never been anywhere by myself for that matter, and here I am. My mother and my best friend are dropping me off to send me on my way by myself to go to California. to spend a week with the man that they had only met for 2 weeks and known for 2 weeks, face to face, and they were trusting this man to not harm me and to send me back home in one piece. So I fly to California, and and this picture we're showing right now is a picture of Highway 101. And if you look at the signs, it says San Francisco and the Bay Bridge. You go to the left, you would go across the San Francisco Bay Bridge. We went the other way because we were going north, an hour and a half north of San Francisco. So I saw San Francisco, I saw the Golden Gate Bridge, I saw Oakland, I went to Las Vegas, we had a layover in Las Vegas, and Jeremy took me to the ocean. I took some amazing pictures of the ocean, and I was just on cloud nine. I'd never been anywhere. None of my family had ever flown to California. I have family in California, but like my immediate family, nobody had ever been to California.
And where's this picture, Miranda?
This picture of us together, was taken at Muir Woods, and Muir Woods is a state park, and it's basically where the redwoods begin. And it was just gorgeous. And if you see Rise of the Planet of the Apes movie, a lot of that was filmed in Muir Woods. And how we know is because we've been there, and I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. There's that over there. Oh my gosh, I stood right there. So it was very cool. So I was out there for a week, and I met his Coast Guard military buddies, and I had to put some in their place right there.
Yeah.
Yes, did, because military men like to be cocky and think they're all that, and they try to pick on Jeremy and make fun of like, oh, his girl's here. Oh. Well, his girl, they didn't realize, was a tomboy and didn't take any crap from anybody. And would tell them off.
Let's talk about the 20 minutes joke. Or wait a minute, let me do that. Get out of the frame. And let me get back in frame. 20 minutes is a joke we have, and you're looking in the picture of a heart in the sand with our initials. Well, originally I was going to take Miranda to the ocean where you walked a hike, and there was these rocks that you could walk right down to these rocks to the ocean. Well, I actually took the wrong road and went to a lagoon that has actual sand dunes coming in off past the ocean, and like here's some great lush stuff. Like the history of Point Reyes. Point Reyes itself is not part of California originally. It's actually Central America. So the plants and the animals and things is more like Central America, not California. So anyway, there's these sand dunes coming in. At the end, there's a lagoon and all sorts of cool stuff. Well, it was we got there about 2 or 3 o'clock.
It was like
or 4.
No, it was like 6 or 7 o'clock.
It couldn't be that late. But anyway,
it was late.
It was late. And what happened is I forgot it was like 2 or 3 miles to walk to this place. So Miranda said,
to the ocean.
To the ocean. How much longer do we have? And I would say, just 20 more minutes, dear.
He kept saying 20 minutes.
20 more minutes. So that became our joke about this picture in 20 minutes.
So we get to the ocean. So we walked to the ocean, went past the lagoons and all this stuff, but past a cow in a field.
Cow?
Yeah.
Joke? Can we share that one?
No, I don't want to share that one.
When we see a cow,
I say I don't.
Say the word cow, we have to kiss.
Hey, I didn't see a cow.
Okay.
I ain't kissing right now.
All right. So
I saved my kiss from when we renew our vows. So anyway, so we walk all this way out to the ocean, and I write, and it's the first time I've ever been. I'd seen the Atlantic Ocean, but this is my first experience seeing the Pacific Ocean. And I went and I drew a heart in the sand, and I put our initials on it. And I took a picture of it, and that's what you're looking at. And this is another picture of California. Oh, that was one of and the trees you're seeing, kind of framing, those are eucalyptus trees, and they lined the entire road we were driving on. You want to talk about the most awesomest smell that a road could ever have. I mean, it was like euphoric. It was just beautiful, beautiful scenery, and the smell from the eucalyptus trees was just amazing. So I do say California is the most beautiful place I've ever seen so far in my life. It is beautiful. So I spent a week out there, and then I flew home. Now at this time we're getting, Jeremy had less than a year left to be in the military. And we knew that. And so we were, was saving. I'd already been saving all those months, after he left Ohio. I started saving up my money for my wedding dress. I knew my wedding dress. And I was even going to bridal shops. He was planning, what he was going to do once he got out of the military. And I said, well, we can either stay in California, or, I'll move to California, I'll move wherever, God is leading you, or you can come to Ohio, whatever. But just a few weeks after I left California, Jeremy got a letter from the government, the military basically, and saying he was going to be honorably discharged early because he had a little too much weight. He was 2% old. He had 2% more body fat than he was allowed to, and they were just going to honorably discharge him early because they didn't want to give him the chance again to try to lose the weight. So here I am. I get a phone call. He's frantic. He says, I have no money. They took all my money. I said, what? He says, I have no money to get to, I'm going to be homeless. I said, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. So the job I was working at the time, I went to them. Jeremy even talked to the head the head person at my nursing job and explained, what was happening out there. He had no money. They took his paycheck to pay for his college classes that he had taken. And he was left basically with nothing. No way to get, no money to get an apartment, no money for food, nothing. Here I am, freaking out. And at the same time, Jeremy had started attending a church. When I come to California, I forgot to tell that. We found him a church to attend. He'd been, he said, I really feel like I need to get back to church. And I found a church for him. It was Open Door. It was Open Door Church in Novato, California. And great pastor and great people. And Jeremy started playing guitar for their praise and worship band just a few weeks, just like a week after I left. So the church, he called the pastor and told him what was going on. The church actually took up a love offering for Jeremy to help him. I got a plane ticket. I luckily had money in the bank saved up to buy my wedding dress. And with that money for my wedding dress, I spent it on a plane ticket. My grandma, some family members give me some money to help out. And I flew back to California like 2.5, 3 weeks later after I had just left. It was almost 2 weeks of work. I took an emergency leave of absence from work, flew back to California. In a week and a half, we had to pack him up. We literally, only things we could take was the things that we could fit in his little Honda Civic. And we packed him up.
That just went off.
And we packed him up. And on July 19th, 2007, at 4 p.m., we leave California. And we drove for 2.5 days. We only spent the first night. And we stopped in Elko, Nevada the first night. And we, what's the matter?
It's on HD full, so there's no more minute availability.
Well, let's not worry about it. Let's just move on.
Okay.
So anyway, just come back and sit down.
Wait, I got something I have to check.
So anyway, so in 2.5 days, only stopping the first night to sleep in a hotel room because we didn't even have enough money to spend on hotel rooms. We didn't. And we just slept in the car. I would drive for like 12 to 16 hours and he would try to get some sleep. Then he would drive, like 12 hours. And by the time we were, it was the 21st. So, we've been driving to starting late in the afternoon on the 19th. A whole day on the 20th, whole day on the 21st. We are exhausted. And at midnight, literally midnight on the 22nd of August, we pull into the driveway of my where my dad's house. Okay. My dad and grandparents' house. And all
right, I want you to come check this, and I'm going to come over there. I want you to see if there's anything that can be deleted so we can record something. Because it's full.
Let's just use the audio. Let's not even worry about this.
Okay.
Okay, let's just move on. I don't know why we're having issues, but we are. So anyway, So we pull in the driveway after driving 2.5 days, basically, and we were exhausted. But we made it. No accidents. We were fine. We had some funny things happen on the way, but luckily we didn't kill each other. We were, we were stressed, but at the same time we weren't worried because I had a job. Jeremy had been honorably discharged, which meant he was still going to get his GI Bill, all his benefits, and he was going to get unemployment. So we were fine. So we get back to Ohio, and we start our life together. But before we left California, we went to the church that Jeremy was attending, and we had marriage counseling with the pastor. And he gave us some really great advice, and he even prophesied over us and over our life together. And it's happened. And I really thank God for that pastor. He was a great man. And but we told him we don't want to live in sin. But we're kind of forced. We don't have any money right now to go buy a marriage certificate. And we're being forced to live as a married couple from this day on. And so basically we got on our knees before God there, and we just prayed and we said, God, we love each other. We want to be married. We have our promise rings, and we want to be married in your sight. We don't want to live in sin. We want to do this right, but we're in a situation that is unusual. So, and that's the first time Jeremy married me. So we get back to Ohio, and a few weeks later, we end up having a ceremony in my grandparents' living room, a marriage, like a little impromptu marriage ceremony, because we were still didn't have any money to buy, do a wedding and everything. So I'm trying to concentrate because Jeremy's doing stuff behind the camera. So we did an impromptu ceremony with my grandparents, and did our vows, and he married me for a second time. And then today, September 22nd, 5 years ago, we officially, quote, legally with the state, got married. And I'll share a picture. And this is us. This is my grandfather, my poppy. And the sad thing about my grandfather, about this picture, is this is the last wedding my grandfather will ever do. He has some very bad health problems, and he no longer is able to preach or do weddings and stuff like that. And my wedding was the very last one he's ever going to do. And I just thank God it was just the right time and right everything just worked out, and God allowed everything to happen. And so we got married this day 5 years ago, and I'll share some more pictures. There's another one. Now this one's my favorite, and I have to give props to my mom, because my mom did a lot for my wedding since it was so small. We didn't have, I spent all the, we didn't have any money. We spent it all getting Jeremy here. And my mom took these amazing pictures. She really did. This picture is my favorite one of me and Jeremy. And this is another really good one. This was when we come for our reception. And this is us cutting our cake. And my mom also made the cake. And our cake topper, I didn't want a regular cake topper. And my mom and I went to Hobby Lobby, and we found Christmas ornaments. Why were there Christmas ornaments out in September? I don't know, but they were. And luckily they were, because they had this bride and groom cake Christmas ornament that was perfect for a cake topper. And so every year I get to take my cake topper out and I hang it on my tree. So it served both purposes. It's really great. And that pictures we had done on our 3-year wedding anniversary. But We'll go back. But that's how our life began. Kind of rough. We had to really fight every inch of the way, but we made it. And then sadly, 12 days after we got married, I got very sick. And I was rushed to the hospital, to the emergency room. I was severely dehydrated. They weren't even sure what was going on with me. Started running all kinds of tests, hooking me up to IVs to get me hydrated. And I was in the hospital for like 4 days because I ended up having to have emergency gallbladder surgery. I couldn't hold anything down. They removed my gallbladder. And I was supposed to go back to work like 2 months later. But sadly, I never got better. I never fully recovered from that gallbladder surgery. Nobody could understand why. And that basically was my beginning fight with Crohn's. And that was in October of 2007. Didn't know until 2011, just a year ago this month, that what I was fighting all this time was Crohn's disease. And so anyway, Jeremy got a job, and we started our life together despite me being sick. I started losing jobs, being fired from jobs because I was in and out of the hospital. I got fired from a job because I literally had to be wheeled out in an ambulance. I collapsed on the floor, and I had to be wheeled out in an ambulance. Couldn't find out what was wrong with me. Severe dehydration. That's all they could figure out. Maybe it's a stomach virus. Not sure. Had a test run say, well, you have gastroparesis, meaning your stomach is damaged and your food won't properly digest. That's the symptoms you have. That's what you have. Well, I have gastroparesis, but they didn't realize that I also had Crohn's disease. And for 3 years, I suffered. Well, we can hear that. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's going to be annoying.
I'm still trying to figure out the camera because, as far as we know,
I know what happened to the camera.
I guess I'm not technically inclined when it comes to this camera. It says the internal memory's full. I was trying to find where to delete it.
It's complicated, okay? You've never messed with the camera stuff. Can we move on? We're at
We're gonna go late. I understand. There's a lot to cover here. It's going to probably take us...
So let's not focus on the camera.
I'm just letting people know. They wanted to know what was going on, so I'm just trying to tell them this is an audio recording. This will be the only thing used. There was an issue with the video.
We can use what video we have, but we can break up the audio. There'll be pieces where it'll just be audio, then we'll go back to video. All right, let's move on. So, we're trying to get our story out there, and no, somebody doesn't want us to do it. We know who that is, and he's not going to win. So I have emergency gallbladder surgery, and I never get better. And for 3 years, I struggle. Doctor after doctor, gastro doctor, not doing anything. Here, take this medicine. If you don't get better, come back, and we'll see what we can do. And I just never got better. In 2008, my health never got, we move on to 2008, it's not getting any better. And then the economic crisis happens. And Jeremy gets laid off from his job. And so began Jeremy's 99 weeks of unemployment trying to find a job without any success. Either he was overqualified or he was underqualified. Well, you don't have a degree. You need a degree.
I'll take over since Miranda's had to do all the talking, and that's pretty much how we have to run the show. When there's an error, one of us has to get up and try to fix it. But the show goes on, right? The show goes on. We've come up with these multiple things. We have the live show, we have the webcam, video recording, the audio recording. The whole thing's being recorded. Cross your fingers. Pray to the Lord that it does. But yeah, what she said. I got laid off from work. I had a nice a job. The August before the September I got laid off, I was brought into a meeting. Everyone in the meeting that was a contractor was getting hired. The following later, I got a private interview with the manager of my team and the manager of the whole floor. We want to hire you, Jeremy. What's going to keep me from hiring you is the boss above me. So my boss, his boss wanted to hire me. It was the three bosses all the way up from the VP, the CEO, and the vice president who decided, let's hire only 6 contractors out of 26. I didn't make the cut. I actually got a phone call on the way home driving from Dublin to Frankfurt, and I was out the door about 15, 20 minutes down the road, went around the loop, and I was two exits away to getting to where I needed to be to get out of that craziness. And I get a phone call, and it's like, oh yeah, this is your contractor. Come to our office, and we're going to go to your office where you used to work. You just got laid off. You're not allowed to go to that building anymore. If you show up at that building, security will escort you out. So I lost all my belongings that were even there. They only gathered a few of my things. Everything else got thrown away. And I went to the Veterans Assistance here in town, Job and Family Services, and started applying for jobs. I was offered jobs that I wasn't qualified for. I was offered jobs that wanted master's degrees, and they thought all my experience and my resume was qualified because all the stuff I did in the military is up to a master's degree, but I don't have a master's degree. So all this stuff kept going on and on and on, and then Miranda gets sick, and it just gets worse, and then her health falls down. Things happen at her job. More bad adversity happens.
And of course, you got laid off in September.
Yeah.
Everything happens to us in September. I don't know why, but it does.
It happened September 5th, which is the same day that we got in the car accident. I believe it was September 5th or 6th. It was around that first week of September.
Everything kind of blows up around that time. So Jeremy starts looking for work. At the same time, he's trying to take care of me. And it is overwhelming. You can't even imagine. And at the same time, we start trying to do our online ministry. Fast forward to 2009, my health continues to get worse. I'm in and out of the hospital. I have literally a nervous breakdown because of all of this. I can't work anymore. Jeremy's like, we can make it on my unemployment right now. Let's try to try to stay home so you can get well. Of course, we're thinking, we're not sure what's going on. We don't understand why I'm so sick. And in 2009, while dealing with my health problems and everything, my grandfather passes away unexpectedly. We do believe it was a heart attack, and he passed away. And that literally was probably one of the worst days I've ever experienced in my life, because I loved my papa very much. But so that's a lot of tragedy, a lot to deal with at one time. So by this time, 2009, 2-year wedding anniversary has come and gone, and we're dealing with a lot. 2010 comes, it doesn't look any better. Jeremy's still not finding work. He was on unemployment for the full 99 weeks that the government allowed, and he's like, I can't find a job. What am I going to do? And I said, well, what about your GI Bill? You have that. You've got, they'll pay housing allowance every month. They'll pay for your books. They'll pay for your schooling. You get grants.
So here's what I ended up doing. I realized that I'd have to stop doing, looking for work, because I had actual leads. I have an email account that has all the jobs I could apply for. And when this happened, these different tiers, you had to write down the address, the phone number, the email, all the contact. And I went from looking for jobs in Chillicothe to Columbus to Cincinnati to Cleveland to all over the world. And I had people, interested with me that were in other states and other countries that would do phone interviews, but that's all that ever happened. It never went any further. I would report this to my VA rep. I report this to unemployment. They're all like, you can't get a job at McDonald's. You're overqualified. You've done the online thing. You can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And the list went on and on and on and on and on. It was a horrible time.
Because everybody was out of work.
Here's what happened. We got a letter from the state of Ohio saying that you can keep your unemployment use your GI Bill, and also go to college. So the intersection of the things started. So I started applying for college back in the end of September, October
of 2009.
2009, November, December, actually going to the college, filling out forms, contacting the VA, contacting whatever I needed to do so I could start school in the spring of March of 2010. The problem is, if you are a civilian, which most of you are, if you're not in the U.S. military and a veteran, you won't understand what I'm about to say. It takes 3 to 6 months for you as a veteran of the military to get in college and use your actual GI benefits. At this point, they just created the post 9/11 GI Bill. There were hundreds of thousands of new applicants and not enough employees to do the workload. No fault at them. They didn't realize how many was going to do it. So they gradually started hiring more people to take care of it. What happens now is practically what happened then, but it's a little bit better. You have to, as a school, apply your benefits, and it takes 30 to 90 days for it to go to the office it needs to and come back to the college. You, as a civilian, you go to the FAFSA, you fill that out, and it's almost instantaneously done between the school and the government. The VA, it takes twice as long to get done. That's why I started October, November, to even be able to start in March.
Of the next year. Okay, so that's how we survived. This is how we have survived the economic crisis. We are putting Jeremy through college. And so by 2010, when Jeremy starts college, I am officially have been labeled disabled by the government. I can't work. And we don't really know why. We don't know what is going on with my body other than, mentally it's taken its toll on me, where I had a nervous breakdown, and I am just a complete wreck mentally. They tried to put me on medication, didn't work, and my health just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm going to the bathroom all the time. I'm throwing up. I'm dehydrated. I'm malnourished. We don't know what's going on. I have no energy, and by 2011, it had gotten to the point where I literally, at times, couldn't even get out of bed for days. And by then, it got to the point where Jeremy's like, we need a new gastro doctor. We need a new family doctor. They're not doing anything. They're not doing enough. There's got to be more wrong with you than just gastroparesis. I had a friend even say, your symptoms, there's got to be something else wrong with you, because she was talking about her daughter had ulcerative colitis. And she goes, you act like my daughter. And I was like, okay. So I get a gastro doctor. I get referred to a gastro doctor. And he starts running all these tests. And they do a colonoscopy, an upper endoscopy, CAT scans, and everything. And they take biopsies of my colon. And on September 7th, 2011, I get this letter in the mail. And it says, Dear Miss Miranda Caverly, your colon biopsy does confirm Crohn's disease. And that day my life changed. Nobody ever thinks they're going to hear that word, the big D word, disease. And then the other words say incurable. You never think you're going to hear that. And it was a really hard day, and it's still a hard day every day, living with this disease. And at least at that point, we could put a name to it. We knew what it was. We knew we could treat it, but sadly, every treatment I've been through so far hasn't worked. And a year later, I'm still not any better than I was before. I'm still sitting here in pain. I'm still having to pop pills every day to try not to throw up. I have to pop pills every day to be able just to eat something so I'm not malnourished. I have to pop pills to get all my nutrients and vitamins in me because I can't eat the foods. with the nutrients I need. And it's hard. And here we are, we'd only been married 4 years. We hadn't even been married 4 years yet when we got that news last year. And here we are facing a disease. Both of us. Because this disease doesn't just affect me, it affects Jeremy. And it affects his life every day. He lives with this disease just as much as I do. And we need a cure. And only God, if man can't find a cure, God's the only one with it. And until God decides to heal me, we just have to go on faith that, one day I will be healed. One way or another. So, that's where we're at with my disease. I'm on now injections, shots I have to give myself every other week. I have to either stab myself with a needle in my stomach or my thighs every other week to try to get this disease under control and stop attacking my intestines and destroying my body. And if that doesn't work, then sadly, sooner or later, if the medicines don't work, then they're going to have to go in and do surgery and remove parts of my colon, intestines, to try to get the disease under control. And that's a lot for a couple to go through. And most couples who have to deal with a chronic illness for the rest of their marriage, the rest of their lives together, they don't make it. 85, the statistics are so terrible. 85% of couples like Jeremy and I end up divorced. And I truly don't even know how we made it this far still together sometimes, because there are days that we've considered separating so that Jeremy can have his sanity, so maybe he can have a better life, because I feel like I'm keeping him from living at times, even hindering him to the point where he almost fails classes for college because he's up taking care of me all night. And I blame myself sometimes. But yet, somehow we've made it. We've made it to today. We've made 5 years through all of this. And just a couple months ago, Jeremy graduated from college with his associate's degree. And that is a dream come true for Jeremy. And he did that taking care of me.
Let me share, because this is my moment to talk, and you get a break.
All right.
She's been quite emotional this night, and tons of sheriffs are coming down the road apparently for hopefully not another accident. Hearing those noises creeps us out still. But anyway, you see in the image that it's a picture of me in the house where we live with my garb on, and this is after the graduation, actually. That's what Miranda wore. And some people said I went into military mode. They didn't see me outside in the back. Because in the back, and what I mean is the back, here's the Shoemaker Center, which is the gym. We had to stand in the tennis courts. I actually walked down there by myself crying and crying and crying. And then walking into the building, I'm crying and crying and crying. I got my cry out before I got in the building, and this is the first time she's ever heard me say this.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And I'm crying now because anyone who knows me knows that when I was in high school, I was an extremely talented clarinetist, someone that plays the clarinet. And when my grandmother died, I wasn't able to finish regular high school because something happened when my mom came back in and I got very sick. And we're not sure if my mom drugged me or what, but I missed over almost 2 months of school. And I went back to school. This happened between September and December. Between September and December is when I got beat up by my stepfather. Fall has always been horrible for me since I was like 12. And what happened after my grandma died, I ended up going staying with a friend, and then ended up staying back with my mother. And I got very sick, as I said, and I missed that time. Well, I didn't know what was happening behind the scenes of the superintendent office. My name was on a piece of paper for a vote. Does he get to graduate? Does he not get to graduate? And apparently, every month from January till May, my name was brought up in a meeting. You're going to graduate? You're not going to graduate. And I didn't know this. I found out the week of prom. Now, I told you about that girl. Carly knows her name. It starts with an S. I had finally secured the moment with the girl of my dreams that I pursued since the 8th grade. Had everything ready for my senior prom. I went to my junior prom. Had the date, had all the arrangements made, and on that Tuesday of that week, and the prom was Saturday, I was confronted by the school, and they told me, you have two options, Mr. Caverly. You have to go and immediately get your GED, because you are no longer allowed to graduate at our school. You can either go to our alternative school, where you can no longer associate your friends such as Carly in the chat and everyone else that I grew up with in school, because that was part of the rules, because part of this alternative school, a section of it was for the deviants as well. Those that weren't supposed to graduate, they were being forced to go to a school that had to walk through a security detail to even get in there. So I lost my dreams of my girl. I lost my dreams of getting to graduate. And Carly knew a little bit about this later on after she found me, but everybody just noticed that I showed up to school the week before prom and poof, I disappeared. Because I had to go in a different building. I was not legally allowed to even have lunch associated with any regular faculty or students because I was part of the alternative school. Well, my friends, and Carly and others know that graduated the school I went to, I was invited to my graduation. And these kids, the ones that made fun of me, the ones that were my friends, and those that didn't know me, let me stand right by the door as they walked into that auditorium, and every single one of those kids shook my hand. Because they told me what was done to me was wrong. And if it wasn't for that, I might have killed myself that week, because it went through my mind, I will not lie. You don't realize how much power somebody has when your name is on a piece of paper if you're going to graduate or not. Not based on do you have the grades or not. Based on how many days did you actually miss, because we're not going to get money. It's cheaper for us to kick you out of the system because we don't lose any money. This was an issue over a school losing money. Not on who should graduate or not.
Yeah.
Who deserved to graduate or not. So guess what they told me at this alternative school? Those that knew me in school knew that I had enough college or high school credits for the advanced honors program. That's what I was doing. I was taking foreign language and computers and all sorts of stuff. And I was setting myself up for a music scholarship that you'll learn about here in a second. And what happened is they said all I needed was English senior and economics just to graduate with a high school diploma, 2 classes. They told me I couldn't come back the next year because there wasn't enough classes for me to take. So I went from 7:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon in less than 2 weeks. Something that takes 4 to 6 months to do at high school right now, I did in 2 weeks. English and economics. I busted my tail and got that done and got in time to graduate the alternative school. Now, my music director that knew me since I was 5, because she was my choir director when I was 5, all the way till I was in the 5th grade, and then from the 6th grade until my junior year, I had other band directors. I was what was called first chair. I was the guy that got the silver, bronze, gold awards for solo and ensemble. I was the guy that would go to auditions and try out playing clarinet on pieces of music I never knew, read sheet music, read things I knew, and could be in a symphonic orchestra. My music teacher knew how intelligent I was and said, I have an opportunity of a lifetime for you, Jeremy. You have 2 options. Angelina College, where you can try out for a jazz scholarship. Or I can offer you a 4-year scholarship along with food and dorm, and the whole book's covered if you fill out these papers and you go to these meetings. Well, at this point, I didn't have my own transportation. My stepfather did. It was his Suburban in his name. And I convinced them to allow me to go to Angelina College in Lufkin to apply for that one. And I actually went and I got a $500 scholarship. At the same point, I was $500 scholarship. At the same point, I was taking my stepfather to Nacogdoches every morning, 5 days a week, to work. But I couldn't go to Nacogdoches and apply for school because I was supposed to come immediately home with the vehicle. So out of fear of getting kicked out, because that's what they threatened me, I did it. And there was not enough time to get everything done in one day to go to SFA and get stuff done. The next thing that happens is I ended up losing. Yes, I lost the truck. The truck actually fell apart, and I couldn't get anything done. And I don't know what happened to the truck, other than you know the whole thing just stopped. It just stopped working and all that and everything. And I don't know if you want to reset this or what. I don't know if it's, well, it says we're back. But the video is not moving, but I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to keep going. The truck broke, so I couldn't go to either one of them. And I kept asking people to help me so I could get to school. And I could get to stuff. Go down there and see if it's not off, don't touch it. Well, we'll just keep letting it roll. So, while the internet's trying to come back, it says the internet's on. I don't know what's happening, but the internet keeps going in and out. I do apologize. That's strange. I can type, but you can't see me. Okay. Well, anyway, let me close out of the PowerPoint and see if that helps. I don't know what's going on with it. So, anyway, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not really sure what's going on with this. Miranda's actually gone downstairs to investigate. The internet keeps going in and out and in and out. And I don't know exactly what's happening with it, but I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to try and delay some of the issue here.
Just keep going. It's off completely.
Well, flip the switch.
I did.
Okay, good.
Let's keep going.
So we're going to keep going. Internet's gone. I don't know what's going on in the video. All we're going to have is just this audio player. How's the power on that audio player? It's fine. Keep your eye on it. Let me know. I broke down and cried, so I haven't really said anything. I've just babbled while you've been downstairs. So anyway, school. So this truck breaks, and I called the school, and they tried to find me someone. I didn't know who to call in school. I was so embarrassed. I was so upset. I couldn't get anything to work. I didn't know what to do. So my dreams to go into either one of these colleges failed. And it failed horribly for me. And I don't understand, at that point in my life, why was my dream taken from me? I had a full scholarship to college. I still can't figure it out. I mean, there's been different points since then and now when I could have gone, but it wasn't still the same thing. It wasn't still the same opportunity. It wasn't still the same... Is that off? The computer off? No, it needs to be shut down. It's still on. It's flashing.
But I turned off the internet.
Turn the computer off. Trust me.
Just keep going, honey.
I'm just connecting all variables. So anyway, one of the things, just hit the button. One of the things that's happened is I fought so hard to get back in college, be able to do the right thing and everything, and just something happened. I ended up homeless, I ended up having problems, having all this stuff. So anyway, here we are, fast forward to 2000, I can't even believe it, 2012.
Yep.
in June, and here I am in college. Finally. And I remember do you remember the first day I went to college, Miranda?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what you thought, because I was scared out of my mind.
You were. I was happy for you. He was so nervous. He was like, I can't believe I'm really doing this. I just can't believe it. And it was very cold because it was March. And he was like, I don't want to go out in the cold at the same time. But he was like, I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this. This is my dream. My whole life. I'm doing it. Am I really doing this? And I could say, yes, you're doing it. And I wrote him a letter. You remember I wrote you a letter? I've written you a lot of letters.
I remember you wrote me a letter, but where's the letter?
It's somewhere. I still have it somewhere. But, he graduated in June, just a few months ago. He graduated. And
I sit here and think about this whole college.
And now you're going for your bachelor degree.
Yeah, and this is the dream that I wanted back then. And somebody's on the network.
That's why we're getting kicked off.
Somebody's got access to my internet. Doesn't want me to do this show. Of course, that's what happened earlier. I had to kick someone off.
It's funny because we're on the internet every day and we never get kicked off until we do our show, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to us.
Anyway, so the picture we'll bring up right now, you'll see Jeremy's degree, and he just got that in the mail just a few weeks ago. So, and I've already hung it on the wall. Hung on the wall, and I'm like, there it is. You did it. You accomplished it. It took you 12 years to do it, but you did it. And it's only going to take you another year to get your bachelor degree, and we will hang that on the wall too. So fast forward to this month.
I don't know.
With everything else that has happened, we come down to the end, and
I don't know what happened.
Are we live?
It says we are, but the thing's not working.
Okay.
So
Let's
I
just
don't know
move
what's
on.
happening.
We'll just have to do our vows. If it's not streaming, we'll just do our vows with audio and we'll upload them. So now we fast forward to September again. And September 5th, just almost 3 weeks ago, we were driving home from church and we were in a severe car accident. And we have a picture of the truck. This is what the truck looked like. And we'll show you a picture of what I looked like because I got, we weren't sure how bad I was injured. They thought maybe I had a neck injury and a broken wrist, but amazingly enough, I had no severe injuries. I had no broken bones. And Jeremy didn't even get checked out at the hospital. He just had some bruises. So, with everything going on else, we get in a car accident. And even my grandmother said, you guys just can't get a break. People just say, it just goes from one tragedy to the next. Like, you get one good thing that happens, and then something bad just railroads you, literally. And sadly, since the accident, my health has gotten worse. I was doing great. I was in remission with my Crohn's disease for 3 weeks. But it seems like 3 weeks is the longest I ever get a break. And 4 days after the accident, I'm back being sick again. Back in bed. Can't hardly walk. Almost collapsing on the floor from the pain. Running to the bathroom. Can't hardly eat anything. Drinking inshore. And just soft stuff. Almost like baby food. Trying to just get anything in my stomach. So that's where we're at. We've survived all of that, and that is our story. And today we're celebrating our 5-year wedding anniversary in spite of everything.
For those that are now back in the chat, I gotta go backwards just for a second so I can get them up to date because it's only fair. Here's what happened: had a scholarship to go to college. The truck broke. Lost the scholarship. That was in 99, all that happened in 99. Lost my 4-year scholarship. Truck broke, can't go. Bye. Fast forward to 2012, almost 13 years later. I get my associate degree at Ohio University, Chillicothe, and I'm working on my bachelor degree. And a bunch of all that homelessness and all that other craziness stuff that happened. Now, we are fast forward to 2012. Is that where we're at? We're at the end? Because,
yeah, we're at the end of our story. And we get in a car accident.
Yeah, we're done with this page?
We're done. We're done with everything. Everything's done.
Okay, well, before the internet goes away, we're going to have to delete probably 2 shows on the podcast to do this, but it's worth it. All right. Everybody, it's time for vows. It's vow time. I'm not opening any other chat.
Are we going to buy a vow?
That was for Allie, not for you. It's vow time.
Who's Allie?
That's the girl that was here, the daughter, that's her name, and her mom.
We're not going to buy a vow?
What?
It's not a game?
Okay, we have to do it for your mother leaves. Come on, let's go. Let's get started. You're going to go first.
Oh, boy. Okay.
There's no big thing.
My mother's in the chat. We have family in the chat wanting to watch us renew our vows. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay.
Because you're going to lose it when I do this.
Yeah, well, you're going to lose it when I do this. Because you've not read it yet. Jeremy, 5 years ago today, you took me as your wife. And we started our life together. And last night, you proposed to me again, surprisingly. And I agreed to marry you. And this morning, I got up early before you did, as I always do, and I wrote what I hope is something profound and will show you how express through words how much I love you. Jeremy, I vow to love you, honor you through good times and bad, through sickness and in health, if we ever get health. My love for you will not fail or grow weak. I vow to be your companion, helpmate, and best friend through this life that God has allowed us to share together. I vow to continue to cherish every day God allows me to be with you in this life. And on this day, I am happy to be able to say, we made it. We made it this far together. And that I fall more in love with you with each passing year. You came at the right time in my life. You made the sun shine again. Took all the worries and fears that I had. Thank you for finding me and loving me with more heart and passion than I have ever known. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm not kissing you on the mouth yet because you haven't done yours.
All right. Many of you know that, and I'm looking at the camera on purpose, that I did not write these vows. I've rewritten them many times, every single day that I've been courting Miranda, dating Miranda, living with Miranda, seeing her every single day. The first part of my vows are for our viewers. You are part of the reason why I'm still with Miranda today. The many notes, phone calls, emails, Facebook messages, Twitter messages, MySpace messages, and even personal visits are part of the reason why I'm still with Miranda today. I cannot be the man that I am without what happened in my school, with my family, my friends, and other associations. So these vows are because of you as well. Now to you, Miranda, I have seen you at your worst. I have seen you sick. I have seen all your bodily fluids lose control. I have seen you scream in pain. I have seen you wish you were no longer living. But in the midst of all this horror and chaos, I have remained steadfast and pure to our love. My goal is set fast, is set forward on a path that cannot be unbroken. There is no man, there is no woman, organization, or entity that can ever take away anything that I have for you. And just what is it that I have for you? Let me clarify this. Little joke for you from a nice, cute, little funny show that we know. I thought you'd like that because you're crying.
Yeah.
Well, let me clarify. What do I have for you? I have an unlimited supply of boundless love for you every day. I wake up in the morning after you wake up, because I'm not a morning person anymore. I'm not in the military, and I don't have to be, and I may never be. But what happens to me is I try and find one new thing that I can do for you. Now, for those of you that are aware and already know this, I used to do the day of 1,000 kisses. Well, now it's going to be the day of the 10,000 hugs and kisses and the millions and millions of things that I can do for you every day, whether it's helping you clean the house or take care of you in bed or get something from the store. Because in this relationship, viewers, Miranda, I've had to do the role of a man and a woman. I've had to help cook and clean. I've had to help make the bed, clean up the messes, go to school, be a husband, be a friend, be a nurse's aide, be a nurse, be a counselor, and I'm willing to do even more. No matter how hard this gets and the outside world continues to attack me and continues to tempt me, whether it's a job or a woman or whatever it is, I will continue to say no. People don't understand our relationship. Because honestly, viewers, I think people have forgotten what a marriage really means. I believe our marriage is an example for the world to follow, that when you make these vows in sickness and in health, it should actually mean something. It should actually have value. And today I pledge to you even more love in sickness and in health, because you do have a disease. And this disease is my disease. I carry this disease with me every day because I want to. I clean you up when you make a mess because I want to. I challenge viewers today to be able to do the next few words that I have to say, because these are the most hardest things that most people can't even understand. The things that I have for you today, Miranda, do not make sense to most people. And what I have to tell you is that I will continue to love you no matter what happens. I will continue to be here when no one else is ever there for you. Because this is hard on the family. This is hard on you, and it's hard on me. I'm the one that has to live with you now. And there's nothing that you can say or do that's going to push me away. I'll put you in line and say, "Don't, Miranda, you're in pain. I know you're screaming and yelling. I understand that." And viewers, this is a strange vows, but when you have a sickness and illness like this, you can't control yourself all the time. I'm being completely blunt and open and transparent in my vows because I think people need to realize there is power in weakness. I realize there is no reason why we are not married if it wasn't for our relationship with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is what keeps me in check when I go to college and I'm tempted, and it keeps me in check when I'm at home. It gives me the opportunity to actually know what to say to you. Because I'm not a woman. I don't understand everything about women. And I never will. No man is ever going to understand. And you're never going to understand everything about me. But that's what I love. We have this wonderful opportunity to share our relationship with ourselves, the ministry we have, and the world. And every day is a new day to learn something about you. I want to learn something new about you for the rest of our lives together. I will be here till you die. I'm not going anywhere. And honestly, we have been afraid many times in bed, at the ER, at the doctor. We thought this was the last day.
We thought it was the
We have prayed the prayer of, "Okay, God, we're ready to move on. God, just go ahead and take her home." We've had that prayer. I'm not going to lie. I don't want her to suffer anymore. But there's something powerful about suffering. Because the world wants to say to live in prosperity and peace, and we're going to have everything in the world, and there are even ministers and pastors preaching right now. But I know many of these pastors that I met when I was homeless wanted absolutely nothing to do with me. And I realized if Jesus Christ can hang on a cross and die for the sins of the world, what more should I be able to deal with when it comes to the person I love? I will sacrifice my sleep and my time and my energies to take care of you. I miss college classes. I've missed work. I've missed eating. I've missed doing things because I want to take care of you. And I will continue to take care of you for the rest of my days. And what does this all mean? This means that I love you. That I cherish you. And I want to spend eternity with you in heaven. I love you, Miranda.
Okay, I guess.
So this has been
an emotional
2-hour show that has been recorded on an audio player, and we have 2 pieces of the video, and the video just froze again right as we were about to kiss. Interesting. Never fails. We don't got the kiss.
It was both. Oh, I guess somebody got it. But anyway,
that's been our show this evening because we wanted to share with you our lives. We wanted you to know that Jesus loves you and He wants to take care of you. He wants to be in our lives. He wants to be in your life, and this isn't something to be null and void. Now, I do apologize. The internet's gone out. You missed the kiss. That's right when it went out. But we do have it recorded. Not the
noise.
The noise.
But, we've had problems, which is unusual. We never have this many problems with our show normally. But at least we still have the whole thing. And we got to share our story with you. It only took 2 hours. And I'm glad it only took 2 hours because I thought it was going to take longer than that. Thank God I outlined it. I literally outlined our entire life together in an hour and a half. I sat down and I wrote it all out. And I got all the pictures through our life. And basically it's 28 pictures that tells the story of our life together. And that's what you've seen throughout the show tonight is these pictures on the journey we've traveled together so far. We don't know how... we don't know how long we will live on this earth. We don't know how much time we have together. And for a couple that doesn't go through sickness or adversity as much, from the beginning like we have, I think you take for granted that person's there, and we've really had to cherish every moment we've been given because we've had to fight for every moment we have, every memory we've made together, every moment we've shared. We've had to fight to be together. And I guess it's like a fairy tale. It's just like Snow White had to fight to be with her Prince Charming. Just like Sleeping Beauty. They had to overcome adversity to be together. They had to fight the wicked queen. They had to fight the evil. And good won. And I truly, our life isn't as romantic, I think, sometimes as a fairy tale, but it does have some similarities to these stories of fairy tales where they had to overcome adversity and death. Sometimes death. And sickness to be together. There.
So now you saw the kiss.
No.
I don't know why.
There we got the kiss.
I don't know why it keeps... I have no idea what happened tonight with this program, but I have to tell you, this program has been like our lives.
Yeah.
This should have only been about an hour and a half. It's going on 2 hours now, and we had, I had 25 some odd people, 50 some odd people, tons of people in the chat. I do apologize. You're gonna only have this little quick kiss that we just did. I don't know how many of these pieces actually saved because this video only has the first like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that.
But we have the audio, so we're going to close.
We have everything. We have the pictures. It's not like you're missing anything other than just seeing us sitting here. You're going to get to see the pictures. You're going to get to see everything else. So thank you all for. Are we having a kiss again?
Yeah,
someone's missed the kiss. All right, there. So,
I know what she wants.
What? Okay. We don't normally kiss that long.
Oh, yeah.
There was times that we couldn't even kiss. There's times that we cannot even share a kiss together because of this disease. Because, I'll share this really quick with you guys before we go. That this is what this does. It literally is trying to tear us apart, keep us apart. Because there are times that I will get sores in my mouth from this disease, where if I kiss Jeremy, he will get an infection in his mouth. And he'll get sores all in his mouth, and he can't, because he did. One time he did get that, and he had sores in his mouth for 2 months. And we found out it was because he had kissed me. And that's very sad. There's been times that we can't even sleep in the same bed together because my immune system is so depleted, and also the medication I'm on deplete my immune system. Where the point, if Jeremy gets a cold and he sleeps in the same bed with me, I get the cold, I could end up with pneumonia and possibly die because my immune system can't fight off these infections, these viruses and stuff. And he's had to sleep in another room, he's had to sleep on the couch, and it keeps us apart. There was months that we actually had a twin bed. I was so ill for the whole winter. We had a twin bed in our bedroom, and I slept in our full-size bed, and he slept in a twin bed on the other side of the room. And that's what this has been our life, and it's not an easy life. And it is not a life that I wish upon anybody, even my worst enemy. But through God, we've made it this far. And I thank you all for tuning in, and I hope that we have inspired you and whatever you're facing to just keep going. And whatever problems you're having in your marriage, face them. Work through them. Communicate. Pray together. And read your Bible. Those things will save your marriage.
And I have to leave you with this, and Miranda knows probably what I'm going to say because she's just led me right into it. Adversity is overcome when you let the hottest of fires in life forge you into the strongest of steel. This has been JMC Live. We'll see you next week. God bless.